Hey there traders, thanks for joining me for this free video this week as we head into another full week of trading coming off a holiday shortened week. Hope your July 4th was safe and fun and you're ready to get going. So this market certainly is still on the run. Last week's holiday shortened lighter volume did not inhibit it at all. It did not slow it down. It just continued to push higher, and we saw new highs created across the board. So for the NASDAQ, we've now broken out from this 43.71 in pretty big style, and now closing at 44.85 last week, and which gives it some pretty good breathing room here on the downside. We do have a little bit of an unfilled gap right here initially that might be kind of the 44.08 level. So if we do see some type of a profit taking kick in, that might be a logical area to be keeping a watch on. But overall, the trend is still very strong, it's still up, and certainly isn't showing no signs of letting up just yet. For the S&P 500, this index continues to just kind of channel higher here. It's just kind of in this rising channel here. It has reached the upper portion. It's trying to nudge through this upper trend line here. But you know what? Even a little bit of lateral movement in terms of price would certainly create a little bit of separation as this upper trend line continues to rise. If price moves laterally, creates a little bit more space for it to eventually lift. So we'll see if the S&P is able to put in a little bit of rest there. We've got rising support down here about 1950. For the Russell, we've got this 1212, 1213 area. This is the 1212 high. Last week we actually nudged just past that and tagged 1213 and then pulled back a little bit. So we're kind of hanging out in this 1208 area, just shy of the high. We do have an unfilled gap down here to 1192. So if we do see any pullback there, that's kind of the next level to watch on the way down. But overall, still lots of higher lows are in place here for the Russell, and the trend is up, and there's no reason to fight it. It's just kind of coiling and churning beneath this key resistance area here, waiting to get through it. Then we've got the Dow, which finally was able to break out of this trading range. It was, roughly 250 points wide from about this 16,735 to 16,998. So if we do get a 250 point projection, that would take this thing north of 17.2. So that's an area to keep a close eye on if we do see some continuation here for the Dow. It certainly has been putting in lots of rest in the last few weeks, so it's not quite short-term extended like some of the other ones are starting to look. The VIX still just hanging out in the low 10 handle, and there's clearly no worry, there's no concern, there's no fear, there's no protection buying out there. And at some point we're going to see that change, but for now it's just an incredibly high level of complacency. Let me walk you through 5 setups I think that belong on the radar. One of them is this G-Pro, which just went public back here in late June on the 26th. Had kind of a lackluster first day. Had kind of a quick run up in the early stage of the day and then just moved sideways. Well, then from there, this thing just really caught fire, ran all the way up here to this 49.90 level. And then finally, last week we saw Wednesday and into Thursday, a little bit of a pullback. So now it's starting to develop a little bit of a descending trend line here. I think that this is the line to watch for this stock. It's been a momentum stock. It's painting some pretty wide-ranging bars. Thursday's half session, just this day right here. If you take a look at the high versus the low, you're looking at $4.50, and that's basically a 10% move at this price range. So it's a stock that certainly is showing a lot of movement, but it's also got liquidity so far. Look at Thursday's light volume was still 15.5 million shares, so lots of liquidity there. But watch this descending trend line. Apple just hanging out here, shy of 94.10 or so. We've got 95.05 just beyond that, and then if we can push north of there, then we've got this one possibly testing the split adjusted high, all-time high up here at 100.75. So keep a close eye on Apple as it has pushed north of this descending trend line, rallied, rested. We'll see if it's able to continue to stair step higher in the days ahead. Few more. This Trulia TRLA just kind of hugging rising support. It's seen a little bit of a pullback here, trying to lift. This is one that just is trending higher, and this rising support is kind of the line in the sand that can be used going forward. So this one still looks poised for higher prices. KSU, this is one starting to get into a gap pushing just north of some resistance here. Basically any follow through on the heels of last week's minor breakout on Thursday could take this thing further up into this gap from January. It extends all the way up here to the 117.28 level, so that one definitely has some room after breaking out of this channel-like base to the upside. If it shows some continuation, it's got some room to run up to this 117 area. And then finally is this MELI, which has kind of been carving out some subtle higher lows here in the last few weeks. So the trend is starting to change here and work back up after some corrective price action from the spring highs down into the early summer low. And now it's kind of churning just beneath this resistance area. So if this thing can get north of 97.60, 97.80 right in there and start lifting, it's got some room here to run to kind of retrace a little bit more of this move right here. So it's another stock that's kind of basing here for the last few sessions. Looks like it wants to punch through this resistance and see a little bit of a pop. So that might be worth throwing on the radar as well. If you're looking for some additional trade ideas to add to your own, if you're interested in what specifically I'm trading and the levels that I'm trading, definitely check out the free trial at the site. If you're a former member, come back, give it another shot. There's been some really good trades lately. Other than that, thanks for joining me for this video. Have a wonderful week out there. Stay on your toes. Be careful early in the week. Let that volume start to come back in, which typically takes a little bit of time right after July 4th. So other than that, thanks for joining me for the video. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon with the next update. Until then, trade like a bandit.